A lot has changed in my life. And then they're like, what the heck's wrong with this guy? There's a little tiny alley that goes straight down on the side of a mountain. Oh my god, it's so windy up here. Hello friends. Thank you for being so patient since my last video a year ago. A lot has changed in my life, and I did make a post about questions you would have for me because I've lived in Vietnam for 5 years. So I'm gonna answer them for you. Number one, what difficulties do you have in Vietnam? Some difficulties that I face as a Việt kiều in Vietnam are, there's like basic stuff where like I don't understand Vietnamese, you know, and there's like vocabulary that I haven't really caught up on, or like I don't really know. And as my Vietnamese gets more advanced, I sound more fluent. So when I speak Vietnamese to people, they think that I'm a local until I reach a word that I don't understand. And then they're like, what the heck's wrong with this guy? Because then we'll have like a full-on conversation, and then they'll talk about one thing, and I'll be like, what does that mean? And then I'll be like, I'm so lost right now. If they're like telling me a story and then we just get into that, I'll have to clarify. If they don't know that I'm Việt kiều, then I would have to tell them. But if they thought I was a local, then they'd be super confused. Another difficulty that I have in Vietnam is making friends. I think the hard part is that as a Việt kiều or as an expat or an immigrant or whatever, it's a life where people are always moving around, and they come and you make friends with them, and you're really close for like a year, and then they move, and then you never see them again because they're in another country, and the only way you keep up with them is through social media. So that's a bummer. The good part of it is, if you ever go to their country, you have a friend there to visit, and so you end up having friends from all over the world. Where would I like to live in Vietnam? I really like the city of Đà Lạt. I've been there many times while I was living there. It's cool. It's nicer weather because it's not as hot. I feel like every other part of Vietnam is kind of hot, except for the north, you know. So like the mountainous areas are usually cool. There's nice views, there's nice coffee shops. It feels like the pace of life is a lot slower. So I wouldn't retire there because I feel like if I was old, I probably wouldn't enjoy it because there's too many hills and a lot of walking up and down these hills. Some of the houses are in like this little tiny alley that goes straight down on the side of a mountain. But you know, I love Saigon, and I lived there for 5 years, and I would still live there if I could. The traffic is crazy though. Every time you drive on a motorbike, it gets crazy, especially during rush hour. It's hard to kind of traverse, and it's hot, it's humid, and it's polluted with all the motorbike smoke and the exhaust from the trucks and stuff. So it's not ideal air-wise, but it's convenient, you know. There's food everywhere, and it's open. A lot of places are open late at night, and there's so much going on in the city. Okay, next, what do you dislike about Vietnam's social culture? As a Việt kiều and as a person who looks Vietnamese, they treat you a little bit differently. If they know that you're Việt kiều, they'll be nicer, but if you act and they think you're a local, then they'll just treat you like a normal person, which is not very nice. You know, like you go to service places like a restaurant or a shop or something, and sometimes they're very rude, and more often than not they're rude, or they're just like normal. It's not like Americans. If you go to a restaurant, they're very excited and happy to serve you. Thank you for coming. You know, what would you like today? How's your day going? All the small talk. There's not a lot of small talk. The final question, do I intend to live there indefinitely? I actually don't live there anymore. I moved back home to Hawaii. I live here now, and I got a job here. I don't teach English anymore, and yeah, a lot has changed in my life in the past year that I've been not active. Yeah, a lot has changed. So much has changed. But I realized my life as a teacher felt kind of repetitive. You know, you just go to class and then you teach the lessons, and I've taught. And, you know, at my center, we taught the same book for the 4 years that I was there. And apparently that book has been there for, you know, 10, 15 years or something like that. Like so long that the manager of the center now used this book when she was studying at the center as a kid. So it felt repetitive. It felt like we were doing the same things again. It's nice to teach good lessons, you know. I put a lot of effort in teaching the lessons, but you reach a point where it's like kind of the same thing. And the kids, you know, I love kids, but some of the classes were really rowdy and really hard to kind of get focused. And sometimes they would hurt each other. So I reached a point where I was like, I'm kind of done. And I never intended to move to Vietnam to be a teacher. I originally was only going to live there for a year and make some money while I had time to travel, make videos. And then I fell in love with it. I really loved it. I met my girlfriend there. We ultimately broke up. But, you know, we were together for 2.5 years. And yeah, I was very happy. So I don't regret my time there. But I felt like it was coming to an end. And I wanted to build something and have a career, you know. If this YouTube thing didn't really pop off yet, I would have something that could, you know, potentially raise a family. And so, yeah, I transitioned into kind of like a tech role, like IT. And now I live in Hawaii again. And so this is a different chapter in my life. But I don't regret my chapter in Vietnam. And I think if you are considering moving to Vietnam, you should at least travel there. You know, maybe spend a month there, see how you like it. It's a big transition. It's a big culture shock. But it's really worth it. You know, there's a lot of cool things about it. And especially if you're Vietnamese, I think it's something you should experience, you know? Connect with the people and not only hang out in the touristy or the foreigner places. Go to places where locals go. Talk to the locals. Understand and learn from them and have conversations with them. Make friends with them. I thought about living in Vietnam for a long time. The hard part was that my family's here. And, you know, I love my family a lot. So it's hard to be away from them for so long. But I really loved it. The cool thing about Vietnam is that it's so convenient. You ride a motorbike, you hop on, you hop off. You can get drink or food anywhere you go. People are selling stuff outside their house. There's always something going on. People are so entrepreneurial. I think like everybody has a mindset of trying to open up their own business or doing something for themselves. They don't really want to work for somebody else, you know? The reason they work for somebody else is to get experience or to make money so they can save to eventually open up something of their own. Something on Shopee, which is like their version of Amazon, or they sell drinks from in front of their house, you know? That's the cool thing about Vietnam. You know, people are always trying to build something for themselves. They're go-getters. They're aggressive. They're blunt, but they're go-getters. People will tell you you're fat if you're fat. People will tell you you have bad skin and you should do something about it. Or people will give you unsolicited advice that they think is helping you. And sometimes it hurts. I've been told that I'm fat more often than I would like.